Services of the alleged D.C. madam are about to be exposed. And that's because Deborah Palfrey's attorney has provided ABC News with her records that include names and phone numbers of her clients. According to reports, ABC is set to air a report this Friday during a May sweeps edition of 2020. But this raises an important question about a news organization. Should they be outing her clients at all? Now, keeping in mind that nobody has been convicted of anything and Palfrey continues to deny running a prostitution ring, should the personal lives of those people alleged to be involved with her services be destroyed as part of a rating stunt? Joining us now, radio talk show host, the author of A Mormon in the White House, Hugh Hewitt, and Jennifer Pozner, Executive Director of Women in Media and News. Jennifer, what do you say about ABC and what they did in terms of coming forth with this information?
Well, Alan, the big question is this newsworthy? And I would say it's selectively newsworthy. As a rating stunt, it's kind of prurient. Everybody likes to, sex sells, it's titillation, but it's only really relevant when there are public officials, public legislators, right, administration officials, and public advocates who have in their day-to-day jobs the position of power to discuss HIV/AIDS prevention, to legislate and moralize against prostitution. For example, one of this madam's clients was Randall Tobias. He had been the head of USAID. He made billions of dollars in global AIDS prevention relief contingent upon these countries swearing off prostitution and talking about abstinence only until marriage. So in those kinds of cases, it is newsworthy. In Joe Schmo cases, it's not newsworthy.
Well, we got to decide who Joe Schmo is or isn't. Hugh Hewitt, I think any news organization, I know ABC will come under attack for this. People will say, how dare they do this? I don't know of any news organization that wouldn't go or come forward with this information if they had it. And she gave to ABC, for her own reasons, this information, and they are coming forth with it like I believe any news organization would. You disagree?
Very much so, Alan. My news organization wouldn't do it. It's cruel, it's unreliable, and it's subject to manipulation. I'll take them in reverse order. We don't know the rules that ABC News are applying to this list. Are they going to include anyone from media, for example? Are those going to be public figures? I know a lot of news organizations that keep their dirty laundry deep in the basement, though it's very newsworthy about public figures. I'm sure you do as well. It's unreliable because of that huge list. I think there's something like 12,000 phone numbers. There have got to be at least a few people who are innocent of any charge that would be leveled against them. And it's cruel because the toll of this publication of these stories is going to be devastating, and it's like the Scarlet Letters back. Right. They're doing a McCarthyism in reverse, and look, so if it's a broadside,
in many respects, I agree with you, because I think
all these people, that's a bad thing.
What adults do between themselves should be their own business. But does Jennifer Pozner have a point when she points out, and ABC, we don't know how many of the names they'll be released or who will be released, but if on a selective basis, people like this Tobias person who had a public policy position, who advocated for abstinence, who opposed prostitution, would not grant people money unless they took an oath that they opposed prostitution. That level of hypocrisy, if it exists here, is that not newsworthy and should not be pointed out to the American public?
Well, the first thing I'd want to know what are ABC's rules, and are they applying them only to Republicans or conservatives? Are they applying them to all public officials? Number two, how do they define a public official? Let's get the standards out there. Number three, will ABC News executives, if they're on this list, be included? You see, I think my trust in these organizations is very low, and I do not trust them to be fair, and I do not trust them not to be manipulated as this pimp. They're pimping the pimp.
Hugh, I can't agree with you more. You are right on the money here, and there's got to be some moral outrage. I'm a little shocked by your comments here. Okay. First of all, maybe Alan's been to called one of the escort services.
As a matter of fact, I have not. But thank you for asking.
I'm kidding. It's a little joke. I don't know anything about them. But what if somebody called just because they wanted company and they were lonely? Now, that may sound like, all right, I'm being laughed at. It may sound naive. But we don't know what happened here.
We don't, but
we don't. And it's not illegal to have an escort service.
No, it's not. But here's what this madam advertised her services as: a high-end adult fantasy firm offering legal sexual and erotic services across the spectrum of adult sexual behavior. You don't call that kind of service for a massage.
But wait a minute. But you're going to try these. Wait a minute. Look, I think there's a lesson here for people that they should lead moral lives and stay away from the escort services. And I encourage everybody. But I also am against the smearing of innocent people. And here's the point. You don't know what happened. There's been no evidence here. No, they've never had a chance to defend themselves. Now, all of a sudden, they may find that their name is in the news media just because some woman had it, and the news media is going to leak this because they want big ratings. Isn't that what's happening?
Well, okay. What I do agree with you, Sean, is that as a rating stunt, if they willy-nilly release all these names, there's not any evidence, then that's a problem, right? But are you going to tell me, really, does anybody in America not know what massage is code for?
Do you know, wait a minute.
Come on, the only
so
time
you're going to
happy
convict them?
ending
I got to be
is
honest.
innocuous
Whatever
is when
happened to
you're
you
buying a
liberals,
pancake
you know,
out of
believing in the
woman.
idea that do you believe somebody's innocent until proven guilty?
Of course I do.
Obviously, you don't.
Of course I do.
You assume because they called an escort service that there was something illegal.
No, I assume that if you are somebody who has made it contingent upon, who has made billions of dollars in global HIV prevention funds contingent on abstinence-only prevention,
Hugh Hewitt?
and then you are doing things that, okay, Tobias is lawyer.
Hang on, let me go.
Well,
But Hugh,
okay.
you can hear in Jennifer's comments here that this really is about an agenda here. Now, I don't want to be seen as defending the escort services. I really don't. But I want to stand on the principle, which is the most important, is that people are innocent until they're proven guilty, Hugh Hewitt, and that seems to be pushed aside for a political agenda here and the search for ratings, no?
Alan, let me make this very clear, Sean. If there's a Democratic senior party operative on there, I don't think their name should be released either. It's not a partisan thing. We're not cruel people.
I agree with you.
We ought not to be cruel people. We ought not to be using this for ratings. We do not know, and it's possible. I'm with you. We'll get laughed at this. It's possible someone from this service shows up at someone's home and they've had a second thought and they say, go away, and that will never get out. I just think see, people don't know human nature very well.
But that's not, you know something.
Out of 14,000 phone calls.
Nobody pays for an escort and then says, oh,
you know something?
go
Wait a
away.
minute. There are lonely people in this world that literally will call just to have company. And you're just assuming that there was some sexual activity going on. And probably there is. But you know what? You don't know that. And you ought to give people the benefit of the doubt. And you ought not smear them with this campaign to release their names before they ever get to defend themselves.
Okay, you know who I think shouldn't be smeared and who I think should be given the benefit of the doubt? People who engage in adult consensual sexual behavior that does not involve finances should be allowed to have access to sexual education, should be allowed to have access to STD
And look, if a
prevention
Democrat got in the
information.
way of somebody getting funds because of taking a strong moral stance and then did the opposite of what he preaches for other people, that would be just as bad.
I would be
Absolutely.
I
You don't know that
absolutely
happened
We
here.
don't, but I'm
He
just
said he
saying
never
the
broke
same
the law.
standard should apply where the Democrat is not a
Nobody ever
Democrat-Republican
says
issue.
they broke the law,
Jennifer,
Sean.
we thank you very much.
Thank God we have you to tell us he did.
Coming up next, conservatives are poking holes in George Tenet's new book and his insider account of the war on terror. A Bush insider will give us his view on whether Tenet's book is fact or fiction.